How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another episode of Previously in DBS, where I go over the week's news in one juicy nugget so you can take it all in one go rather than have to look at it bit by bit during the week. So, as you've seen from this week, we ended up getting the new trailer for Set 16, Realm of the Gods. Interesting trailer. Personally, in my opinion, it doesn't seem that interesting, but it does seem, from the spoilers we got so far, a lot better than the last two sets. But personally for me, the trailer wasn't that much hype. I've been hyped for pretty much every single trailer for this block. Well, since the Unison Warriors started, but this one just didn't. It just didn't appeal to me. Like, I was expecting a lot more gods and stuff, and like a lot more god leaders, but we didn't get too many. But it does look very interesting, and yeah, as I was saying, from the trailer and what we've got so far, spoiler-wise, it seems a lot better than a lot stronger than the last two sets. Like, I don't think anything from last set was used competitively, whereas it looks like some stuff from this could be potentially competitive or even just decent in general. Before we get into spoilers as well, hope everyone had a nice Christmas, nice happy holidays, and enjoying a nice relaxed Boxing Day. And also, from counting the spoilers, I think there seems to be less of the monocolors. There's going to be a lot more multicolors in this set, which is quite interesting. So maybe we can get some multicolor unisons. Like, I wasn't revealed anything in the trailer or anything like that, but we seem to be getting a lot more multicolors in this set. So without further ado, let's get into the spoilers of what we got so far this week. So with the first ones we saw, as if you watched the Worlds, we got this revealed a while ago, but now we got the full lot, especially with the unison, because normally each leader has a unison to go with it. So this one is a red Sun Goku, and on the awakened side, Sun Goku, the Stream Warrior, and for the unison we have Golden Frieza Android 17, Determined Tag Team. So the Goku, he's got a permanent on both sides where you can't send cards when you drop area to your warp, so similar to like some old leaders we've had, like back in I think set 6, the Blue Boo, where you couldn't send cards when you drop area to your warp. And with this leader on his front is 10k on front side, 15k on back side. He's got an ult on the front where attack the draw, standard, and then it's got an activate main of once per turn. You burst free, so it means you got send 3 cards from top of your deck to your drop area. You draw 1, and then you choose 1 card in your hand and discard it. Now, I misread this when I was first looking at it. I didn't see the discard 1, so it looked pretty nuts that you had a draw 2 leader on front where you just attack the draw and then you activate main the draw on everyone. But no, it is you essentially mill 3, draw 1, and then discard a card from your hand. So it's not too bad. You get through your deck a lot quicker to fulfill the alternate awaken condition, because it does have one as well with a normal one. So its awaken is when your life's 4 or less, like most leaders, or almost every leader. Or if there are 7 or more Universe 7 cards in your drop area, that's the requirements. You may draw 1 card and then switch up to 1 energy to active mode and flip the card over. So it's got the mid-ring, it's got the middle ground awakening, whereas draw 1 on top 1. But you can either be at 4 life or just have 7 or more Universe 7 cards in your drop area. And just remember to note for anybody who's new and might be watching this, unisons don't count as that because unisons don't have special traits, and nor do extra cards unless specifically stated on the card. Like if you look at it, like I think the only extra card that's got Universe 7 on it is the Universe 7 representatives from the Theme Booster set 1. That actually has a permanent which says it counts. It's got the Universe 7 trait in all areas. But then we do flip over. We have the same permanent as we mentioned, and then we've got 2 activate mains. The first one is at once per turn, where you draw 1 card, then place up to 3 cards on top of your deck in your drop area. So it's same as the now you don't have to, now with this effect, once you awaken you don't have to attack the draw card. You can just activate main, draw 1, just like the old set 6 Frieza BR card leader. We just draw 1. But also now to mill the top cards of your deck, it's not a requirement, so it's optional. So if you want to mill, you can. If you don't want to mill, you don't have to. And also it's up to 3, so you can choose between 0, 1, 2, or 3 of how many cards you want to mill. And then with the other activate main is a Sparking 20, which basically Sparking means you need that many cards stated in the Sparking in your drop area to fill that condition. So for this, you need 20 cards in your drop area to activate this. And the effect is to add 1 mono red Universe 7 card from your drop area to your hand and then negate this skill for the game. So that's pretty good for if you lose one of your boss, like your big boss threats, you can grab it back once a game from your drop. So if you do happen to mill one of them, you can easily grab it back, which is pretty cool. So it means it's not really lost. And then for the Unison, it's quite an interesting one because it's a 2 specified cost, 2 specified red cost, 15k power, and it's got the new keyword skill called Empower, which is for I think all Unisons in this set are going to get it. And what Empower does is it allows you to carry over a certain amount of if when playing this Unison, it would replace a Unison already in Unison area. It would gain a certain amount of markers depending on the Empower skill from that Unison to itself. So for this one is Empower Red 2, which means if this card replaces a red Unison card as it enters play, it carries over up to 2 of its markers. So if you had a red Unison in play with 2 markers on, you played this over it, it would carry over those 2 markers it had. The one of the skills is Auto Burst 1, meaning you have to mill a card as the cost for this. If this card has 4 or more markers when it's played, you draw a card. And then the other also is once per turn, if it's your turn, when a card is placed in your drop area from your deck, add a marker to this card, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and it gets minus 15k power for the turn. And that's all before we get to its marker skill. And its marker skill is a -4, activate main, this card gains 5000 power and triple attack for the turn. So its marker skill is basically the same as the ulti marker skill of the SS Bardock Parental Unison, the one from set 10, the green one from set 10. It's got exactly the same -4, but unlike this, it doesn't have that auto where it can drop off a combo piece with his auto. But this is really easy to fulfill because if you have a red Unison in play already with 2 markers on and you play this over it, you gain those 2 markers from this. If you got to pay 2 minimum for this up, then have 4. The first auto will trigger, making you mill 1 and gain it and draw on a card. And then because you milled 1 from that burst, the other auto will trigger, giving it a 5th marker and minusing something on your opponent's board, 15k power. Now you have 5 markers to activate the activate main and have a 20k triple attack in Unison for the turn. So it's very easy to pull off the skill. It's pretty decent Unison, and it might even be a good one for the cube. I'm not sure yet. But that is for the first of the, because every set's going to have 2 leaders, and that's it for the first one. For the first leader, we'll get into the bits for it. So some of the supporting cast for Universe 7, Red Universe 7 stuff in this deck. First one we have is Android 17 for the Universe's survival. What they are for the Universe's survival. So Android 17, Golden Frieza, and Ssb Vegeta. So Android 17 is a free cost, 15k. It's got double strike, which requires sparking 7. So as you can see, it's got double strike, and then after it's sparking 7. What that means is basically for this card to gain double strike, you need 7 cards in your drop area. And it's also when this card attacks, look up to 3 cards at the top of your deck, add up to 1 mono red Universe 7 card among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. That's quite nice. Just attack, look at the top 3, grab a card, and because if you're looking at 3 in the deck, you need to have 20 in drop for your leader's effect, and as you can see, at least 2 of these cards need sparking 7, so it looks like you need to mill yourself a bit to fulfill and gain certain skills. So thinning through your deck and basically looking at the top 3 to grab, you can have a lot of Universe 7 cards, so you'll be able to add that value just from attacking with this, which is quite nice. And as we are with most with this format and most formats, or for the formats for the last few sets, nothing's really paid by its actually physical cost because of it. So this one's got an activate main for limit 1, meaning you can only activate this skill across all copies of the card once per turn. And for 1 red as well, if your leader card is a red Universe 7 card and there are 5 or more Universe 7 cards in your drop area, you can play this from your hand. So it seems quite a lot, but it looks like it's going to be very easy to pull off in this deck with the leader's effect to burst free and then just draw and discard 1. And then on the Frieza, this is a 4 cost 19k one, and this one's got dual attack that requires sparking 7. So once again, the dual attack's only live if you've got 7 in your drop area. And it's also when it's played, you choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards. It gets minus 15k power for the turn. So red is getting, because it's in red, so one of red's main niches in this game is power reduction, and it seems quite a few cards are going to be doing this. And then its activate main is limit 1 for 1 red. If your leader card is a red Universe 7 Sun Goku card, so a different, more of a restriction than the Android 17 where it needs to be it can't be just a red Universe 7 card. It's got to be a red Universe 7 Sun Goku card. And there are 5 more Universe 7 cards in your drop area. You play this card from your hand. So that's more restricted than the Android, and is even lower rarity than Android. But it is, having dual attack can become quite handy. And then we have Ssb Vegeta for the Universe's Survival. So this one is Deflecting Critical. Deflect being a nice keyword skill, meaning that it's not going to be stopped from coming down. And Critical means no matter what happens when you attack with your opponent's lead with it, they're either trying to out-combo it, or they're losing the card from life if they accept it and take the damage. Now its also is when this card is played, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and they get minus 15k for power for the turn. Now this is really good. This is definitely going in the cube. It's from through barrier removal, can't be stopped. 4 costs is expensive in competitive play, but as we're going to see with the Activate main, you're not going to pay 4 for it. But in the cube, this is going to be an excellent addition. And then Activate main to get out cheaper is a Sparking 10, so you need 10 in your drop, and you need to pay 2 energy. If your leader card is a monocolor Universe 7 card, so this is interesting. So it's a monocolor Universe 7 card, meaning that it can be run with any Universe 7 lead, because you need is 2 colorless to pay for the Activate main with 10 in the drop, and it's just a monocolor Universe 7 card as your leader, which is, I think there's a fair few of them at least. And then by doing that, you play this card from your hand. So that's a pretty cool card, and only a rare as well, which is quite interesting. Interesting enough, this doesn't have the Vegeta's lineage trait, which I imagine this would be a good one to have, because we've seen previously with the Vegeta's lineage, it's got a broad range of Vegeta cards, and King Vegeta cards have the Vegeta's lineage. Like we've seen the King Vegeta, there's even the Vegeta from the Saiyan Saga, and then we got the Vegeta from the King Vegeta deck, which is Ssb 1, that had the trait as well. So it's interesting to see that this doesn't have one. That it doesn't have the trait. But that is it for these 3. And then for the next lot of cast, supporting cast, we've got a Sun Goku Sign of Mastery. We've got Android 17 Heeding the Call, and we got Frieza Universe 7 combination. So the Goku is the counterplay for the deck. It's a free cost 19k with a counterplay limit 1, meaning you can activate this that skill once across all copies of the card for the turn. And all the counterplay does is play this card. But once again, you're not going to be paying free because it was permanent, whereas Sparking 7 means you require 7 cards in your drop area. If the leader card is a mono red Sun Goku card, you reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So this is interesting that this one doesn't require a Universe 7 red Goku leader, just a mono red Sun Goku lead. Now I know there's not many of them, but it means that if there's if you have older ones, this can still be used for it. But if you do want to get the full skill, you need to have the full off skills. You do need it to be a mono red Sun Goku Universe 7 card, because there's also where if your leader card is the Universe 7 card, when this card is played, you use it to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 15k power for the turn. Additionally, if this skill reduces the chosen card's power to 0 or less, you draw a card, which is quite nice. So you can have a counter play for 1 energy to play this minus for something by 15k, and if it gets put to 0, you draw a card as well, which is really cool. So it's looking to be like quite an interesting archetype, this red Universe 7 Goku deck. And then we've got Android 17 Heeding the Call. It's a one drop cantrip, because the second auto is when this card is played from your hand, draw 1. And note, from your hand, you only get the draw, because of its first auto is a limit 1 burst 1, which means you can only activate this skill once across all copies of the cards, and you need the mill 1 to trigger it. If your leader card is the red Universe 7 card, when this card is placed in your drop area from your deck by a skill, you play it from your drop area. So that's nice, just like if you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, if you mill it from the top of your deck, then you get to play it. And then we have Frieza Universe 7 combination. Now this is a super combo for the deck, being a super combo, and it's a Sparking 5-1, which means you need 5 in your drop, and then if your leader card's red when you use it in a combo, you draw a card. Easy enough to put off in this as well. Then for some other ones, we got some more skillless. Like almost every set we got skillless, and this time we got some in red, and it's just 2 cost ones. It's a 2 cost 20k Sun Goku and Vegeta, both of the Universe 7 trait. So this is quite interesting that some of this Universe 7 stuff works well with the previous sets, Universe 7 ones like the U7 Gohan, back a set or 2 ago. That also gets some good support from this, especially with these two, because of the whole vibe of it was involving skillless stuff. And yeah, we've got a weird looking Goku and a weird looking Vegeta. Like Vegeta looks like weirdly skinny for how big and bulky he is as a little guy, and Goku looks like his neck's been twisted a bit too far and is lacking a right foot. And then we have the Red U7 boss card. So this is one of the cards you can grab with the leaders once per game effect. His second activate main. So this is Sun Goku Ultra Mastery. An 8 cost 35k. It's got all the keyword skills: Deflect, Double Strike, Dual Attack, and an also which is once per turn that requires sparking 20. So now, as you can see, this is easy enough to pull off, because if you've got 20 in your drop to use the activate main and your leader to grab back from the drop to your hand, then you've got enough to trigger this also. And the also is when this card attacks, your opponent reveals their hand, and then you choose up to one card in it with an energy cost of 7 or less from it and discard it. So you have a nice bit of hand knowledge by looking at the hand. Then you drop a battle card of 7 or less from the drop to the drop area, which is nice, ripping out a super combo from your hand when you need all the combo power and you probably need to out combo this. It's pretty cool. And once again, like we've been saying, this isn't going to be paid for 8 energy, it's going to be paid for 4, because of that mean worth 4 red. If there are 10 or more Universe 7 cards in your drop area, play this card from your hand, then choose all of your opponent's battle cards, and they get minus 35k power for the turn, and you can't play non-red battle cards for the turn. That's pretty cool. You get to drop this quite cheaply, and then you get to minus your opponent's board for 35k, but not in barrier though, so they got barrier. Nothing happens. You don't hit those, but you hit anything else that doesn't have barrier. And really, the next part where it says you can't play non-red battle cards for the turn isn't going to matter, because with the leader you can't overwhelm anyway, because you can't send cards in your drop area to your warp. But it sounds like a really cool boss card, really strong, and it's nice that you got a way to, if you do accidentally mill it, easily grab it back from your drop. Now with some more support, we do have some pre-release support as well, because as you probably haven't seen yet, we are getting some pre-release cards. So like we've been with the last few sets, we get 2 pre-release cards. For this set, we're getting a pre-release leader and unison. Like I think we got last set, I think there's only one set previously we got a unison and a battle card, but this time we got the same as last time: a pre-release leader and a pre-release unison. And these kind of support it, but not only that, they also support the blue Gogeta BR leader as well. So we've got SS Sun Goku, the Interceptor, SS Vegeta, the Pursuer, and an SS Gogeta holding the back. And as you see, the Gogeta is a multicolor card, which is pretty cool, supporting the more of the with the blue Gogeta, the red-blue stuff. So Goku is a 2 cost 10k, and Vegeta's they're both a 2 cost 10k to Vegeta and Goku. And Goku's blocker, while Vegeta is critical, as you see mostly with their BR cards. Like Goku's always the defensive one blocker, whereas Vegeta's the aggressive one with critical. And they both have the same auto, where you choose one red-blue multicolored card in your energy. At the end of a turn, when this card is played from your hand, you draw 1 card and switch the chosen card to active mode. Now that's not really great, because playing this from your hand isn't good. Like they have to flank, they're only 10k each and stuff. Like sure, they draw a card and tap it, but that's at the end of the turn, and you got to pay at least 2 to trigger this. If it was just a draw 1 from anywhere, not just from hand, it would be quite decent, because you've got things like the old set 6 Goku and Vegeta stuff, which play stuff from the deck. You've even got from the anniversary box the Vegeta that pops a Veku as the cost, and then brings out Goku from the deck. If you can get this one out and have the draw happen from the deck, it would be simple. These just don't seem very good. But though, the Gogeta on the other hand is actually quite decent. It's a 5 cost 20k, energy source and blocker, and its unit infusion skill is for 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 colorless for using any Sun Goku BR and any Vegeta BR, which is quite nice. That's a bit different than the previous ones we've seen, where it requires a red Goku BR and red Vegeta BR. These can be used anyway, because remember we've got the green ones from sets ago. We had I think one was a promo, one was a tournament pack one, Vegeta and promo Goku. And then we also got the ones from Theme Booster 3, where we got the blue Goku BR. That was really helpful against Weenie, 2 cost or less for attacking. And also the yellow Vegeta BR. as well. So those can be used with it as to be a bit interesting if you want to go for some different color stuff. And its permanent is this card can't be KO'd by skills. So it could be still KO'd by battle, just not by skills, which is a bit different to the old Gogeta cards, where they just can't be KO'd in general. And it's also is if your leader card is a blue Vegeta BR or blue Gogeta BR card, spotting a little bit of the pre-release leaders we're going to get. At the end of a turn where this card is played, you draw one card, then add up to one red-blue multicolored card from your drop area to your energy. So that's pretty cool. Now for free energy, you get to play this blocker, losing two other cards in your hand as well. Then you draw one to replace itself, and then you ramp one energy, which is really cool, really cool. So I reckon that's very nice, especially with this pre-release leader we're going to see. But if you're playing Gogeta, you're just going to play Vacuum instead, because that can ramp you by 2, whereas ramps you by 1. Yeah. So with the next lot, we've got some of the extra cards now. So first one we've got is Realm of the Gods, Ultra Instinct. Now this feels like, just from the name and stuff, that we're going to get a one card like this for every color in the set. Well, I would say every color. I see at least the first 4 colors, like the 4 main colors, the first 4 original colors, just by how the name is. So this one is an activate battle, where one cost activate battle. If your leader card and energy are all red, you choose it to one of your cards. It gets plus 10k battle power for the battle. Then you choose 1 or 2 effects. If it's your turn, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than their current energy, and it gets minus 30k power for the turn. But if it's your opponent's turn, you draw 1 and then choose up to one of your cards and gains plus 5,000 power for its battle. So this seems a little bit like almost like the ISRs. It seems a bit more like the Ultra Instinct Goku Kamehameha kind of one, where you get 50 in your opponent's turn, you get a draw 1 and a 15k, but in your turn you get a 10k plus like the explosive Broly card from last set, where it hits something that's for 30k. Seems pretty interesting, especially for a rare. It seems like quite cool and is really helpful for those mono decks. A nice set, and also a never good card for the last set's Broly, Red Broly. And then we have Universe 7 Unified, a counter attack burst 1, which means you have to mill 1 for the cost. Negate the attack and then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gains minus 5k power for the turn. It also does have a permanent, which is similar to some cards we've previously seen in older sets, where if your leader card is, with this one, if your leader card is mono red Universe 7 card, you can activate this card's activate battle skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. Similar to what's it called? A Power of the Super Saiyan, where if you fulfill a certain condition, you can, or have a certain kind of leader, you can activate the next skill for free. And this one's an activate battle, which is limit 1, meaning you can only activate 1 copy of it for the turn across all copies of the card. And Spirit Boost 1, meaning as a cost you need to remove a marker from your unison. You choose up to one of your leader cards or unison cards, and it gets plus 10,000 power for the battle. That's quite cool, especially if you can use it for free. Getting the free 10k boost is quite nice. And then we have the second leader. So this is the one that got revealed today, the second red leader, and this is, as we saw from the trailer, it's Grand Prince, but now we know exactly what it does. So it's got a permanent where you can include non-god battle cards in your deck, and you negate the energy exhaust on all skill of all god cards in all areas, and you have that negate energy exhaust on both sides as well. So if you do use this leader, you can't play anything that's not got the God special trait in its special trait area, and you negate the energy source skill of God cards in all areas. So all your multicolor God battle cards that have energy source, all negated. So it's a bit like the Android 17 deck, where you just charge one without it being rested, and this gives way to the first proper multicolor deck, because it's going to be supporting with all the angels, which is pretty interesting. And also, its activate main is switch its card to rest mode, draw 1. So it's one of those kind of decks where you don't need to attack the draw itself, but it kind of goes in theme with how the angels are in the anime and stuff, where they don't try to invoke conflict. They just defend themselves. They're like passive. And its awaken is quite interesting, which it because it is when there are 4 or more colors in your energy, you may switch this card and up to 2 of your energy to active mode. Add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 life left, then flip this card over. So this means you can potentially awaken turn 2, because you can put charge like a red blue turn 1 and then a yellow green turn 2, and then you got the tools to awaken. And the good thing is it encourages you to use the active main and switch it to rest mode, draw a card, then awaken, because you untap it, and that's relevant for his awaken side. Whereas the same permanents at front, apart from just taking away the you can't include non-god battle cards in the deck because it doesn't need it on the awaken side. Is ever skills activate battle, where once per turn you switch this card to rest mode, which is why it's relevant that the leader's awaken untaps itself. You draw a card, then choose up to 1 multicolored god card in your hand and use it in a combo. Now, this is pretty cool, being you can draw in either player's turn. So if you don't want to attack, you can just leave it for your opponent's turn. So when they attack, you can trigger that to get a draw and combo a multicolor. But there is one issue with this, in being that the one color you don't want to leave down for your opponent's turn on is yellow, because they can just attack with the first thing, use this as a massive super combo, which would then just tap your leader down and you've just wasted and got no draw. But still, being able to draw a card and combo a multicolored god in your hand is pretty cool. And I imagine there'll be some cards in a set where you can combo it and get some effects, which would be pretty interesting. And with this, it comes an alternative win condition with Erase a Universe. So it's got 2 skills. Well, first we'll go over the second skill, which is Activate Battle, which is basically the same skill as Cab's Awakening, but for god cards, because it's choose up to 1 god card, which can include your leader, and it gets plus 6,000 power for the battle. So as I said, basically the same as Cab's Awakening, which is for that bit. But for the other skill is Activate Main, where you got to pay 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green, 1 yellow, and 1 of any other color. If your leader card is a Great Priest card, deal 1 damage to your opponent for every 2 colors on god cards in your battle area, a 2 damage max. And additionally, if you have 12 or more multicolored god cards in play, you win the game. Now that seems really difficult to pull off, and then in my Discord, which link to it is down in the description below, we were speculating about how easy this would be to pull off or how you can pull it off, and we didn't read that we misread it by not seeing that it's multicolored god cards, just because we were going on the assumption that it was just Monica. We just didn't see the multicolored god bit. We just saw god cards. So we were speculating with all to see what god cards were easy to play, which ones had indestructible. Like there's a load of Zamasu and Goku black god cards that are quite easy to pull off. And with indestructible, they can't be removed from the battle area, and the only way to really remove them is to negate your skills and KO them, or negate their skills and remove them, or reduce their power to 0 to make it so they die by game mechanic. But with it being multicolored, it means there's less likely, because I know there's the green ones from Draft Box 5, but that's not an option anymore after reading the card properly. That needs multicolored cards, but we need to see more spoilers to see whatever multicolored god cards there are, to see how easy this could be to pull off. Because it is nice to see all these alternative win conditions, but they always have quite a restrictive requirement to be able to pull them off, because you can't be pulling off alternative win conditions like this really easily, because that would be silly. And that's it for the Great Priest. Then we have some of the multicolored angels that were spawned with it. First one we got is Whis, Angel of Universe 7. So I imagine we're going to get all 12 angels in multicolors for the set. I think in the colors that their angel and god rares from Draft Box 5 came in, and they're all going to have their name plus Angel of Universe, whatever the universe they come from. So Whis is Angel of Universe 7. 2 cost 10k. He's got a blocker skill, and I'm not going to go over energy source because they all have energy source if they're multicolors. It's a counter attack where you just negate the attack and play this card. And its permanent is if there are 4 or more colors in your energy, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding a card from your life to your hand instead of paying its energy cost. That's not too bad, especially since the leader can awaken turn 2 and go down to 6 life from its awaken. Having this just negate attack and play a blocker by just taking a life is really, really cool. And is not really restrictive as well to what leader. So you can any quad color deck you want to play this in, you can always stick Whis in to have that free negate. And then it's got an auto where when this card is using a combo from your hand, you switch it to one of your energy to active mode. So if you use it off your leader's effect with his activate battle, you can draw one, combo this, and then use its skill to untap an energy as well, which is pretty cool. Then we have Kusu, Angel of Universe 10. This was spoiled on the Worlds one as well. So it's a 2 cost 15k. And Whis has a 2 cost 10k combo, while Masarita and Kusu have 1 cost 5k combo power. So this one is a counterplay where you just play this card. That doesn't seem great, but then it's got 2 autos. First one is if you have 1 or more multicolored energy. When this card from your hand is played or used in a combo, your opponent chooses 1 card in the hand and places it at the bottom of the deck. So that's pretty cool. It goes in theme with green. And then we have auto, when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with entry cost of 6 or less and place it at the bottom of his owner's deck. So that's the blue part of it. Now this is pretty cool because you can just counterplay for 2 energy. You can then, when you do that, you play it, you make them discard a card, and you bottom deck a battle card that's 6 cost or less on their board, not ignoring barrier. And that's pretty decent for 2 energy. But outside of the priest deck, it might not be amazing, but it could be useful. But still, it's a 2 cost counterplay. It's pretty decent in the right deck. And it's one of the SRs as well. And Masarita is also an SR, being a 2 cost 14k. With barrier and blocker, so this is going to be harder to remove if you keep it on. And also a good one that you could put on board to help go towards this 12 for the alternative win condition from Erase the Universe. Now it's got autos quite similar to Kusu, where if you have 1 or more multicolored energy, when this card is played from your hand or using a combo, your opponent chooses 1 card in hand and discard it. Kusu makes them choose a card in hand and place it at the bottom, where Masarita makes them discard 1. And then the second auto is limit 1, meaning you can activate that skill once across all copies of cards. So it doesn't matter how many. If you can have 4 of these on board, but only one of the auto skills will trigger, or the second auto will trigger once each turn. It's when your opponent plays a battle card using a skill or activates a counter skill, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets switched to rest mode. So that is basically just like the what is it? The Putin, just is more specific to the God cards for Grand Prix, which is pretty cool. So it means if you're playing green yellow, you can get Putin and this, but I imagine they both trigger on the first attempt to activate place something by a skill or activate a counter. So you can't have one trigger whenever you want. But these seem like pretty good cards, pretty decent, and they're interesting looking to see the Ever 9 God cards for Grand Prix, because it looks to be the first proper quad color deck that you can play, which is cool. And then now we have the pre-release promo. So these are the pre-release promos. So as I said, we get once again a pre-release leader and pre-release unison. And for this one, it is a Vegeta BR leader, which is quite cool. So we got Vegeta, who then flips over to SSG Vegeta Crimson Warrior. And then for the unison, we got SSG Trunks Spirit Empowered, because as you saw from the trailer, hopefully if you watch the trailer, we got SSG Trunks in a leader and also in the set for the first time, which is pretty cool. So on the front side for Vegeta, it's got the auto when this card attacks, draw 1, pretty standard. And then his Ever skills activate battle once per turn. You can choose up to 1 red or blue Saiyan card in your hand and discard it. So it's choose up to 1, by the way, so you don't have to discard 1 and still trigger the effect. So the discard is optional for the cost. You look up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. You add up to 1 Sun Goku BR, Vegeta BR, or Gogeta BR card among them to your hand and then place the remaining cards on top of your deck in any order. So that's really cool, being able to basically gain 2 cards a turn in your turn, and your opponent's turn gain another card, and also range to the top of your deck to see what you're going to get. And then for its Awaken, it's if your life is at 4 or less, or if you have 4 more energy, similar to the Reboot BRS. You may draw 1 card and switch to 1 energy to active mode and flip this card over. So the mid-range Awakening of draw 1 and tap 1. So that's pretty cool. So if you're not being rushed down, you can just get the 4 energy and Awaken. And that's pretty easy to do. And that's what that Blue-Red Gogeta is very good for this deck. Because you can't use Vacu with this leader, because Vacu requires specifically a Blue Gogeta BR leader. But in place of that, you can play the Gogeta we saw. where you turn 3 you can play that to, because you can always discard a blue-red card from the activate battle here to play the Gogeta, draw a card, and then ramp, and then you have 4 energy to then flip over if you want to. And then when we are flipped over, we are a 15k leader now, with a permanent that is red Gogeta BR cards in your hand gain the following skill, which is Union Fusion for 1 red, 1 blue, and 2 of any color that you discard using for it any Sun Goku BR card and any Vegeta BR card. And it's also, once again, is when it's got attacks, draw 1, standard on mostly every leader. And then the other auto is once per turn, when you play a Gogeta BR card, draw 1 card, then switch up to one of your red, blue, multicolor energy to active mode at the end of the turn. So that's pretty cool. You can untap, so you drop a Gogeta, or you Union Fusion in a Gogeta, then you draw a card, replace it, and then you untap an energy at the end of the turn. And if you discard the Goku from the anniversary box, you can untap 2, so you can have that nice topo setup at the end of your turn. And then for the Unison doesn't seem that interesting. It's alright, but it's not fantastic compared to other blue 2-cost specifying Unifons we got. So it's, as I said, a 2 specified blue, 15k, with an auto of when this card is placed in your dropper from your Unison area, choose up to one of your Unison cards with Empower blue 3 and then a marker to it. So that's pretty cool. Then it's marker skills. It's +1, activate battle, burst 1, choose up to one of your blue cards, and it gets 5,000 power for the turn, for the battle. So it can add it to itself. And that could be handy for the old SS4 Vegeta, giving it more power so it can push through damage to get the ramp. And it's -1, which is an auto. When a marker is removed from this card by an opponent's attack, this card gets 10k power for the turn. So if it takes damage, it's then lost 2 markers to make it 25k, but then when it's 25k, it's going to be harder to take markers off by battle. Which is, yeah, as I said, is not the greatest, but is interesting. There might be a way where this could be pretty decent, but we're not sure yet because we haven't seen all the set. And then lastly, we have the secret rare. So yesterday, because it was Christmas Day, Bandai thought they'll be nice with the Christmas spirit and drop one of the 3 possible secret rares. And this is also a contender, as we've seen, for each secret rare to be a god secret rare potentially. We haven't seen the rest, we'll wait and find out. But this one is a red one, a red Ssb Vegeta Unbridled Power, 8 cost 40k. It has dual attack, but only if you have Sparking 25, so you need 25 cards in drop for it to have dual attack, which, as I saw that Goku leader, shouldn't be too difficult. But any other deck might be a bit difficult. It's got ultimate, deflect, and triple strike, so it isn't being stopped for coming out and being at 8 cost as well. It means it's going to be hard to do anything to it. And then we got triple strike as well, so it could potentially be a dual attacking triple striker when dropped. And it's coming out cheaper as well, just like the Goku we saw, the boss monster. It's a activate main for 4 red. You play this card from your hand, and you may have one of your opponent's leader cards get -5k for the turn. So that means if your opponent's not awakened, they're a 5k leader unless they're less, and if your opponent's awakened, they're a 10k leader or less, depending. So you're giving your opponent's leader a -5k for the turn, so all your attacks are a bit stronger. And also, it being a triple striker, 40k means it's going to push a lot, which is pretty cool. And then it's got its activate main. As you noticed, it hasn't got permanent like most secret rares have, where if it's removed from the battle, it's removed from the game, it doesn't have that permanent, because of its second activate main, where you remove this card from the game. There we go. Most cards do have that skill now in some form, either permanent or by skill. You choose all your opponent's battle cards and Unison cards, ignoring barrier, and place them in their owners' drop areas. Then you place 1 card from your opponent's life in the drop area. So that's pretty sick. You drop it, -5k your opponent's leader, swing for a 40k triple strike, adding combo power if you want to. And if you've got Sparking 25, you get another swing after that. Then if you haven't killed them yet, you then just use the activate main, remove their entire board of battle card and Unison cards, ignoring barrier, and then crit life as well, which makes it a really good secret rare, because it means if you're playing red now, or if you're playing against red, you need to watch how when this set drops against red of going to 1, because if they've got this as their secret rare, they just pay 4, drop this when you're at 1, and go out of it main. GG. That is just amazing. And I think that is it. No, we do have more. I forget. We had the strategy. We had the strategy announcement as well to go with it. So as well as that, we had a few spoilers. First being, we had a bit of a spoiler for green, where we got to see both the unison for green, because since green is the Champa saga of Beer and the leader card of Beerus versus Champa, so we're getting a green Beerus and a green Champa, and it showed us the 2 unisons in there. So we have Whis pre-fight preparations and Vados pre-fight preparations. Both one specified cost green, 9k power each. They both have Empower green free, which if this card replaces a green unison as it enters play, it carries up to 3 of its markers, which is a good thing as well. We're going to find out that it didn't make the effects too strong, because we've got to remember there is still a Demagra from set 10 1 cost unison that is quite hard to remove markers off of, and if they made these skills too good, then that would make Demagra even more busted than it already is, because it can just come down to turn 1, save its markers by taking life instead, and then have these play in power free, gain all those markers back onto it, and then just wreak havoc with good effects. But luckily, they don't have the best effects, because they both have an auto with limit 1, where if this card has 3 or more markers, when this card is played, you do something. So for Whis, your opponent chooses a card in the hand and discard it. But for Vados, you choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. So Whis discards, Vados pops. But they both have the same marker skill, where +1 activate main. If a filled extra card isn't in your battle area, you can activate up to 1 the Nameless Planet from your deck and shuffle your deck. And what does the Nameless Planet do, you say? Well, we've got it up on board as well. We've got it on the screen as well. It's the Nameless Planet, 1 cost fill card with barrier. So I think the second fill card, no, the third fill card has barrier. And it's got 3 skills. First of all, it's an auto, once per turn. If your leader card is a green Beerus or a green Champa card, at the end of a battle where one of your green battle cards attacks and KOs an opponent's battle card, place that card under this card from your opponent's drop area. So you just suck up one of your opponent's battle cards when they're KO'd by battle with a green battle card you control. And then we have the other auto, where if your leader card is green Beerus or a green Champa card and you switch this card to rest mode as the cost, when your opponent attacks, you can choose up to 1 of your green battle cards in rest mode with the same universe special trait as your leader card, and switch the target of the attack to that card. So you can basically just switch attacks from something to another card, which is pretty cool. And then the activate main is where it gets interesting, because it's an alt win condition, where if there are 5 cards owned by your opponent under this card, you win the game. Now that may seem easy, but we haven't seen anything else from the green, so we don't know how easy it is to get cards on there, because you got beaten by battle with green battle cards you control. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be fun trying to pull it off. And given that it seems to be about 27 cards in green, it's a bit more than red is going to have. Red, well, just around about the same, maybe a bit more than red. But it's going to be interesting to see what cards we get and what the leaders do to see how easy it is to pull off. And then we do now have the last few cards from the strategy side, which is a few spawners of yellow and black. So as you might have seen from the trailer, one of the yellow leaders is a Goku Black, Zamasu and Goku Black Wish leader, which is cool. We're getting another Wish leader, so it actually goes in theme pretty well with the Wish mechanic. And the other one is a Vegeta and Trunks together, which is pretty cool from the Trunks saga. So the first card we got to see is Goku Black, Surpassing Time Itself, a 2 cost 9k with a 0 cost 10k, 0 cost 1k Coma Power for yellow, which this card's the one that's helpful to get the ball set up so you can wish quicker. Whereas first auto is when this card is played, you place 2 Dragon Ball cards from your deck to your drop area, then shuffle your deck. Pretty standard. And then auto at the end of your turn, send this card to its owner's warp. Now you're not if you do happen to do that and send it to the warp, you do have the activate main limit 1 to bring it back, where if your leader card is a yellow Shenron Zamasu card or yellow Shenron Goku Black card, play this card from your warp and you can't play non-Zamasu and non-Goku Black battle cards for the game. So that doesn't seem very worth it to me. Sure, you can play it too, but it costs 2 to mill from your deck, from inside your deck, 2 Dragon Ball cards to help you so you can wish easier. But then if you use the activate main to get this back to help you awaken quicker, you're sacrificing your ability to play any non-Zamasu, non-Goku Black battle cards, which doesn't seem very worth it to me. But it all depends on what we get in the set, because so far you've seen that, but so far it looks a bit lackluster. But what doesn't look lackluster is the 5-drop multicolor blue-yellow Fuse Zamasu Divine Condemnation. It's a 5 cost 20k with once again all the keyword skills. Got Energy Exhaust, Unique, Indestructible, Blocker, and then Aegis blue-yellow, which is once per turn. So if you don't remember what Aegis does, or if you're brand new, Aegis is basically where during your defense step, or as like people like to say, combo step, during your combo step, which is defensive step is only during your opponent's turn, you can discard either a blue and a yellow card, or a card that's both blue-yellow from your hand to untap 2 energy. And then it's also when this card activates as Aegis blue-yellow skill, you choose it to one of your opponent's non-leader cards and switch to rest modes. That could be energy, unison, or battle card, just not leader. And it comes down cheaper with an activate battle, where for 1 blue and 1 yellow, if your leader card is a Zamasu or Goku Black card, and there's at least 1 Zamasu card and 1 Goku Black card in your combo area, play this card from your hand. So that's not too difficult to do. And once you do drop that, it's indestructible, so it's going to be hard to move unless your opponent's negating the skills to KO it, or is reducing its power to 0. And its blocker, which is incredible with indestructible, because you just place a block and you know it's not going to die. And it means that you're going to be stuck, easily get off a Aegis blue-yellow, which is pretty cool. Now this is an example of really how the Violent Rush Bojack has been errated to be only playable with the Bojack leader. Because like this one, you've got the activate battle, whereas if your leader card is a Zamasu or Goku Black, means you have there's very limited cards that have those characters, and it means that it's restricted to that kind of thing because it is a Zamasu card, so being restricted to Goku Black and Zamasu leaders makes a lot of sense. So this is kind of like a plea to Bandai to please consider errating the Violent Rush Bojack so it's only playable with a Bojack leader. Because it is very strong, but the archetypes need it. Well, at least the yellow one does. And then for the last card, we have Birth of the Crimson Heroes. As I said, we're getting Super Saiyan God Trunks in this set from the Xenoverse one, for a Xenoverse game or anime, I can't remember, or manga. And this is a 1 cost extra card to support it. Where activate main, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 black Saiyan card with an entry cost of 5 or less from your hand, then shuffle your deck. So it's a nice little search. Not amazing, but decent. And then it's activate battle, which is limit 1 and burst 1, meaning you can only activate this skill across all copies of the card once a turn, and you need the mill 1 to do it. If your leader card is a black Trunk Zeno only card, which means it's only going to be usable with I think the new Trunks coming out, maybe 1 from back in set 4, I think, something like that. Only and you place this card from the bottom of your deck this card at the bottom of your deck from your warp. Choose up to 1 of your leader cards or using card, and it gets 5,000 power for the battle. So it's pretty interesting how you can get a card from your warp back to the bottom of your deck to stop yourself decking out, which is pretty cool. And it's very easy to put this in the warp with your leader's effect, because it's got that effect where when it attacks you warp. I think the effect was when it attacks you warp a card from your hand, draw 2. So it's going to be an interesting card to go with it, quite handy and helpful, nice and helpful to stop you from decking out. And even if you don't use it by that effect, you can always overwhelm it to get you from your drop to your warp, then use the effect. But that's it for this week's reveal. So we've got we've got quite a few of the some new cards. So most of the red cards so far. So we should get the last few cards in the coming days, and then go on to Never Color. But I'm not sure. We haven't been told what the color reveals are going to order of. Last time they give us a roadmap of what colors they're revealing and stuff like that. This time they haven't. We just had a poll in the Dragon Ball discussion group to ask the players and the community what colors they wanted. So they started with red. I think we might get black. I think that's the next most popular color, but only time will tell. But anyway, thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Have anything you want me to cover or anything you want to see on the channel. And also subscribing helps me get to my goal of 1,000 subs, which I'm a quarter way there, and keeps you updated with my videos as when they drop, especially if you click the notification bell as well after subscribing. So once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.